ओ वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगदपितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीं दशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्तदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दाय तपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोतीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरननदी कैवर्तककेशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्याननकेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधना बोधितम् सत्पदैरहरहप्येपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्र रुद्रमरुतस्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः। हरिः ओम्। तो अक्षर ब्रह्म योग प्रयाण काले मां स्मरन् मुक्ता कलेवरं मुक्त्वा कलेवरं तयाति Madgata Pranaha, all that he says. And then he said, Yam Yam Yati Prayam Yanti Tam Tam Eva. Tadbhava Bhavita. We saw those two shlokas last time. He said at the 11th moment, 11th hour, if you really think of me, you will come to me. And he further made a very general statement. Whatever you think, you will go there. This is where we stopped last time. So there are some questions, because this is a very important shloka. So expectedly, there are many questions, 3-4 questions around shlokas. But anyway, I'll read the questions. I keep all my life, but somehow, some reason, I am unable to remember the God during the last minute. And will everything be nullified? Yeah? That's what Sri Krishna says. So that is his question. All these questions we will answer today. I'm not going. Today's lecture will answer some of these. I'm not really to answer in detail. As start, these questions will be several natural questions. Because God is so particular about my last minute remembering him, I'm asking this question. So is the qualification question. Then the related, all the questions okay. I can remember and happily call his name and eat my last. I am not very sure about it, but anyway, I will agree with what they say. It is not being healthy. There's something more to it. But anyway, but if health does not allow, what can be the solution? God understand my situation and allow me to merge in him. So these are then there's another question. Is remembering Lord Krishna the only criterion for attaining moksha? What about one's thoughts and activities during the course of one's life? Or these are also considered for the attainment of moksha? See, in management, there is something called path dependence. In strategy, management, we teach what is called path dependence. The path you reach is a function of the path you took. So if you thought of God throughout your lifetime, 100% you'll remember at the 11th hour, actually. Anyway, we will come to this. So there is no way I remembered God all the time, but in the last minute I forgot. That possibility is not there. Whereas the previous question still has something which we have to work on. Anyway, then there is another question. God wants us to surrender ourselves and love him unconditionally. Then where is the question of conditioned moksha? Because the moksha is now a conditioned moksha. You have to remember me in the last minute. Right? Only if I remember him, we can get liberation. So this is a question that is being asked. So remember me unconditionally is the only condition. If you have to understand it that way. But anyway, that's another question. All are related actually. So there's another question. In general, Bhagavan's smarana at last moment of life is good for natural death. In case of sudden death, accident, fire, etc., what is the fate of the Atma? So all these are related questions. And as we go along, we will find answers. I'm not going to answer all of them right away, but through today's lecture, hopefully we'll get where are very important questions. So Sri Krishna has said, remember me in the last minute, then you will reach me. If you don't remember me, whatever you remember, you will reach. And the last class I showed you from Mukundamala, right? Prana prayana samaye kapavada pittaihi kantavarodhanam smaranam kutaste. In the last minute, there is a traffic jam here. So how am I going to remember you? Kapavada pittaihi kanta avarodhanam. The neck is all jammed. So where am I going to remember you? That's why he says, Manasa Rajahamsa Adya Vishatu. You come into this nest called your mind, you come and stay right away. So I showed that shloka. Then from Subramanya Bhujangam also we saw one shloka. Last time I showed you shlokas. This time I will show you from Upanishads. Because this is an idea which is so central. So we can't afford to take it lightly. But these questions are there. These questions are real questions. We cannot run away from these questions. So we'll try to understand and answer these questions before we go further. So the Prashnopanishad, as you know, Prashnopanishad is called Prashnopanishad because it is only 6 questions, 6 prashnas. 6 disciples go to Pipalada. Each disciple asks one question. Sometimes one question may have 2-3 sub-questions. In any case, each question makes one chapter. This is how Prashnopanishad is. So this is from the 3rd chapter, which means 3rd question. The 3rd question in Prashnopanishad was a simple question. What is this prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana? What is all this? This was a question one disciple asked, and there are 10 mantras. This is the last mantra, 10 or 11 mantras, I think, in that chapter, in which so beautifully Pipalada actually gives a reply. First he says, first shloka itself, which is the 3rd mantra in that chapter, he says, just like a king cannot administer the whole country, it's difficult for him. So you do delegation, you appoint ministers, you appoint district collectors, federal structure, etc., etc. In the same, this is the example he gives. He says, in the same way, the pranan Brahman which comes in the form of a pranan will say, I cannot administer everything. I now split myself into 5. This is how the discussion starts. Then he talks about prana, he talks about apana, he talks about vyana, then samana, then comes udana. This is the discussion on udana. This is the last discussion. This udana, in Sanskrit, ut means going up. You have to lift up ut. Okay? So udana is this vayu, udana vayu, or udana prana, whichever way you want to call it. It plays 2 important roles. But in today's context, I'll talk about one role. The other role, maybe some other time we will talk. The most important role for Udana Vayu is to take the Atman out of this body because it has to go, no? It cannot get trapped here, no? You have to take it out. So the Brahman says, I appoint you for that. This is how the mantras come. You take the responsibility to pull me out of this body. Okay? So in that, this mantra comes. Look at what is this mantra saying. It says exactly what this Bhagavad Gita says. Just see what it is saying. It says, Yat chittaha tena yeshaha pranam ayati pranaha tejasa yuktaha saha atmana tata sankalpitam lokam nayati. So what he says, Yat chittaha tena, with whatever thought, right? Pranam ayati, takes the prana and goes. When this Jivan starts with a certain kind of a thought, and then it goes, then what really happens is pranaha tejasa yuktaha. Tejas is the Brahman. So tejasa yuktaha saha atmana, take the atman and the tejas. Tejas is that vitality, that pranan. Tata sankalpitam lokam nayati. Whatever that was the thought at that time, it will go there. So that is what the Prashnopanishad is saying. So this is the job of Udana Vayu. So Udana Vayu will take this Linga Sharira along with the Vasanas and Samskaras, everything it will pull out. If I had to use today's terms, it will demat. It will convert it into a demat. We have converted everything to demat. Now money is also now demat. Money is just a Deeparadhana with our mobile. You buy 20 rupees, you buy some, something you had just show like this. UPI also dematted now. The samskaras, the vasanas, the thoughts, everything is dematted and pulled out by Udana. And where does it take? This mantra says it takes to where your thought was. Yata sankalpitam lokam nayati. So that's what it says in Prashnopanishad. Look at Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad also has a similar mantra. What does it say? Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. This is a very famous mantra. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. The whole world is nothing but Brahman. Sarvam Kalu Idam Brahma. That is what it is. Kalu plus Idam has become Kalvidam in Sandhi. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Okay? Tad Jalaniti Shanta Upasita. Everything is made of it. Like that you do upasana. Like that you do your thinking. It's what the Rishi says. Shanta upasita. Calmly meditate this concept that the world is nothing but Brahman. Now, why did the Rishi say that? That is told in the second line. Athakkalu kratumayaha purushaha. Kratu is thought. One of the meaning of kratu is thought. We are all nothing but a bundle of thoughts, no, all the time. We keep on thinking all the time. So this mat pratyaya, maya is called mat pratyaya in Sanskrit, right? It means it is full of that. So kritumayana means one is full of thought. It's like we are endowed with thought all the time, right? Kritumayaha purushaha yata kritum asmin loke purusho bhavati tatetaha pretya bhavati. Whatever thought with which he was here, with that thought he will go. That's what he says. Saha kratum kurvita. Remember this and then change your thoughts. Because whatever thoughts with which you have spent most of your time, you will go like that. Because we are kratumayas. We are nothing but bundle of thoughts. So unless we do something about our thoughts, or unless we alter or adjust the quality and the quantity and the nature of the thoughts, that decides the path. So that is the path which takes us. So that's what Chandogya Upanishad says. In fact, in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a beautiful mantra. Antare nataluke etastana iva valambate se indra yonihi saha indra yonihi. You know what Taittiriya Upanishad says? It says there is something hanging. Stana iva valambate. It's like a breast which is hanging in your throat. It actually traces. And then it says Antare nataluke. And then it talks about this Brahmarandra. He says that yoni is called Indra yoni. If the final Atman goes in that path, he will be liberated. That's Taittiriya says something else. That mantra is there. That's why for all sannyasis, they'll break open their skull. Because the idea is, it is Indra yoni. The pranan, for some people it go away, all these happen. Na? So it's called say Indra Yonihi. That's what in Taittiriya Upanishad that mantra is there. So each Upanishad has talked about it. I just gave you a few. Now comes this central question. What is all this last minute business? And so many questions are there. I have been thinking, but not in the last minute. So we have to understand the semantics very clearly, because the words I used are all wrong actually. It is not thinking. So let me now clarify it very well, because I have to start somewhere. I have used that. You have to get the meaning of this very well. Smaran muktva. Smaran I translated as thinking. It is not thinking. There is something more to it. So let us try to understand that. I will take you to 3 levels of this thing that happens to all of us. I'll give you a simple example. One day all my nephews and nieces said, Mama, you do gobi Manchurian. So I went into the YouTube. I checked all the details and I said, bring this, bring this, bring this. I did gobi Manchurian for them. I prepared gobi Manchurian for them. I don't remember it. But if I do gobi Manchurian 100 days, every day I do gobi Manchurian, I don't need that yoga ambal or anything. Nothing is required. I can just, do. Is it not? So what remains in your mind? There is a process, there is a methodology. If you don't know something, I'll refer a book. I will try to understand what it is. I want to commit it to my memory again and again. Until it gets committed to my memory, I would actually keep looking at it and then see, what it is. This is stage 1. So let me take you through 3 stages. The Smaran has a different meaning. There are 3 stages. First stage is memory. Please, I use the word memory for Smaran. That's not the right word. Because memory is a matter of this Jada Padartha called brain or Chitta. I don't own my brain. The Atman does not own the brain. The Atman does not own the Chitta. They are all called Antakaranas. They are all Kshetra, not Kshetrajna. They are all Kshetras. That is a field in which the knower is operating. So anything we keep in our buddhi will never come to us in the last minute. So when we say Smaran Muktva Kalevaram, it is not about something which is because the brain is of no use at the last moment. So we are not talking about any Jada Padartha at all in this picture. Then what is this? As I told you, initially it will go into the brain. Then if I repeatedly do it 1,000 times over several janmas or whatever, you go to the next level called instinct or skill. Instinct does not need any training. Instinct does not need any memory. It doesn't rely on any of the gadgets. It looks like a spontaneous response. That is called instinct. See, people learn driving. But after they learn driving, it gets into the DNA. You give me a car, I drive, no? So that is the second level. Memory is only the first level. Although I use the word smaran muktva, I use the word remember. It is not about remembrance. It is about not memory. From memory, if you do it repeatedly, you will go to what is called skill and instinct. But if you go even deeper, it will become part of you. It has nothing to do with any of your faculty. It becomes part of our consciousness. See, I am there. I don't have to read a book to understand I am there. I am there needs nothing. I don't need light. I need light to see whether you are there, but I don't need light to see whether I'm in pitch dark also. I know I am there. I am a Swayam Prakasha. And so every one of us are, right? So that is called consciousness. So the Smaran Muktva, the real meaning of Smaran Muktva is this God thought is become part of my consciousness. Part of memory is only the beginning. And if it is part of memory, all these questions are true. In the 11th hour, it will go. Because, the memory, the faculty will go. These are all Jada Padarthas. If it is not part of the Chit, it's of no use. Anything which is in the memory is of no use. Because when the memory goes, it goes. That's why, when I was doing PhD 35 years back, I was so comfortable handling about 40,000 variables and 1 million equations. I'll solve. Today, I don't even know because I haven't touched it for 30 years now. My thinking and all has gone elsewhere. I used to be a solid operations researcher. I do some very basic work. I take the papers which I wrote in 1990. I don't make head or tail of it now. But I knew all of that at that point in time. Those are all items related to my memory. So when the memory moved somewhere, all of them receded to the back. Whereas something which is prolongedly retained in the memory, constantly recalled, etc., it will go to the next level. It will go to skill, instinct, that kind. Skill is a slightly higher version. Instinct is even higher version. But if you go even further, then it becomes consciousness. So the godliness, the God thought must be as good as the I thought. The I thought requires no help. That's why people, if somebody is in coma, the other person does not know. That person knows. This is what I understand. That person knows everything. Because the gadgets are required only to know the outside world, not to know the inside world. These gadgets are required only for the outside world. So when you are in coma, you are switched off only your transaction with the outside world. Of course, with our gadgets, doctors and all that, check and then they say all that. But consciousness is there. People have recovered from coma and they have even recollected some events while they were going through all these things. So what it shows is consciousness is indriya, atindriya, beyond indriyas. So let us not understand Smaran Muktva as something which is in the domain of Indriyas. It may start in the domain of Indriyas, but it has to go deeper. And so how does it go deeper? Only by repetition. Simple, na? First time I do Gopi Manjuran, I need a book. Keep on doing it, I don't need the book again. The repetition is the name of the game here. That is why our ancestors talked about japa. They talked about Nitya Parayana. They said spend 1 hour in the morning doing some prayers to Yushta Devata. Spend 1 hour in the evening. They are nice methods. They have wired everything into our living. Instead of training us with so many things, all they are asking us to do. Somehow today, that is not the name of the game. Only elder is Google now. Elders in home are not required anymore. They say we have Google. I will find out what to do with Google. Now maybe generative AI will come. Google also will pale in comparison now, I think. Something ChatGPT, all that will happen now. So that is the way we are going. But our ancestors have thought about it. And anything which we are not able to repeatedly, it will not cross the memory stage and go to even to the skill and instinct, leave alone consciousness. So when Krishna says, Prayana Kale, Smaran Muktva Kalevaram, he says is, you have a lifelong, across Janmas, not even one Janma. Across Janmas, we train our attitude towards that. And that is why the Gajendra, although it was able to call. Gajendra was different in the previous Janma. So this is the path dependence. There is a continuity which has come through. Finally, what we saw is only Gajendra Moksha. But that Gajendra is in the godliness thought for Janmas. That is that Bhagavata story. So that is what is implied there. So Smaran, although we'll use English and then translate it as remember, it is not remembrance. In Tamil, they say unarvu, not unarchi. Unarchi means feeling. Unarvu means consciousness. In Tamil, they use the word unarvu. So it should become part of you. It's not even unarchi. It is not even a feeling. It is not even at a feeling level. The moment you talk in feeling level, they are all indriyas. This is in spite of indriyas. Despite or, whether indriyas are not there or not, this must be there. That level of depth we have to go. So again, I will show you some shlokas. I'll take one shloka from Shivananda Lagari because it brings this idea very well. Otherwise, we don't know how to connect these shlokas. So now Krishna says, so now logically, Sri Krishna takes us to the next level. So that is the next shloka. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha mayyarpita mano buddhihi mame vaishyasa samshayah. Tasmat, therefore, that therefore follows from the last two shlokas. The therefore is connected to the last two shlokas. In the 11th hour, you think of me. Whatever you think of you will go there. Therefore, that's how the Tasmat is coming now. Tasmat, therefore, Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha Mayyarpita Mano Buddhihi Mam Eva Yeshyasi Asamshaya. These are all Sandhi. There is a single word there. There are all Sandhi Padatas. Mayyarpita Mano Buddhihi Mam Eva Yeshyasi Asamshaya. All of them have gotten into a single one word in the second line. That's a Padacheda. Okay. The Mano Buddhihi, the Visarga has become Repa. Mano Buddhir. Mam plus Eva has become Mameva. Right? And then A plus A will become I. So Vaishyasi. Ashyasi become Aishyasi now. Because Mam Eva, there is an Akara. Ashyasi, there is a Ekara. In Gunasandhi, A plus A will become I. So you find a Y there. And Ikara and, then there is another Sandhi which will become Yakara. So Asamshaya has become, Yakara has come in between. So they're all Sandhi. Moment you break it, meaning is straightforward. Right? Mayyarpita mano buddhi mam eva eshyasi na samshayah. So that is what he's saying. This is a very logical flow from the last two shlokas. Here, Krishna says, Sarveshu, Kala is one. Why is he saying in plural? Kaleshu is seventh case, Saptami Vibhakti Bahuvachanam. It is not Ekavachanam. You should have said Kale, Sarve Kale. He says Sarveshu Kaleshu. Because he wanted to make sure that, whether it is this Kala, Grishma Kala, this Kala, morning, and he has taken all possible meanings of Kala. Kala has different meanings. No? Time is one meaning, but Kala has different meanings. We use Kala with seasons, we use Kala with the Dasha in which we are in. It's not a good time also we use the word Kala Sarilla. So the Kala has multiple meanings. So he has folded all the meanings. He said, whatever meaning you take, in all those times, that's why he has used kala in plural. Kala could have been used in singular. Sarve kale. Ekavachanam saptami vibhakti. Tasmat sarve kale mam anusmara. Whereas he said sarveshu kaleshu. Which means don't hide behind any reason not to remember me. Whatever happens, you should not give it up. It is as good as Nishwasa Ushwasa. It's like breathing in and breathing out. We don't forget to breathe in and breathe out. We don't seem to forget eating 5 times a day or 7 times a day or whatever. All that we don't forget. But on this matter, we seem to bring all, no, sir, how is it possible? When I do work, how can I also do, remember God? When you do work, how are you able to also have your junk food? Please tell me. Or, you have 4 times coffee. When I was a PhD scholar, with my professor, I'll go and I'll have 7 times coffee. We have a guide will go, I'll just go behind him. We'll have some chuku coffee, something in IIT, we used to have all that. So you remember all that, but you can't remember God. Man is known for multitasking. Let us multitask. One task is God. That should run. While we do anything, we should see God everywhere. So even when you hit a mosquito, see God in there and hit the mosquito. Decide whether to hit or not. That is your choice. But even if you want to hit the mosquito, see God in it and hit it. That's all I can tell you. So I think Sarveshu Kaleshu. At all points in time, whatever be the thing, you must. That is the first nice thing about this Sarveshu and Kaleshu. Every pada is Visesha here. Then he says, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Very beautiful. Smara is remember. Anusmara means varam varam. Again and again. Anu means again and again. Nah? Anu means follows. So one thought must follow the second thought. The second thought, the third thought must follow the second thought. The fourth thought must follow the third thought. That's why it's called Anusmara. The Anu is used for repeated following like that. So Anusmara. He says, remember me as a 24/7 routine. So if you do a breathing in, breathing out for 100,000 times in 24 hours, 100,000 times you remember me also. When you breathe in, you say Narayana. When you breathe out, you say Vasudeva, whatever. Something like that. Remember like that. Remember like that. Okay. So Anusmara. But then look at the beauty of, this is the beauty of Gita. The beauty of Gita is not a text which says if you have to become spiritual, throw everything in the world and go and sit in the forest. Gita Acharya will never say that. Sri Krishna will never say that. The greatest contribution of Gita is you can work and evolve. That's why he says Yudhyacha. Engage in activity. This Yudhyacha is a contextual meaning here because this is a Upadesha for Arjuna in the battlefield. But how do we understand Yudhyacha? From morning to evening, it is only Yuddha for us. In our own ways, it is Yuddha only. Na? Yuddha here means activity. Arjuna is in the battlefield. So he uses the word Yudhyacha. That doesn't mean we have to fight with our better half or with our son or daughter, nothing like that. Or with our boss. It doesn't mean that. It means activity. So he says, don't give up your activity. Gita will never tell you, Mate Sangastu Akarmani is what Gita Acharya has said. You have no business to be jobless and doing nothing in this society. Mate Sangastu Akarmani. Karmanyeva adhikarahate, mapaleshu kadachana, makpar karma pala heturbu, karma kaunteya, mukta sangha samachara. Do work. Be part of the society. While you are being part of the society, have godliness in your thought. That's why karma chitta shuddhyate. It should purify our mind. And if we follow Bhagavad Gita very, very diligently, I think we will do work for the sake of work. Work will become a great offering to the God. That's what in 18th chapter he said in 52nd shloka or something. There's a very nice shloka in which he says, you offer it, I forget that. You may be able to tell that shloka. It doesn't come to my mind readily. It will come anyway. I will tell you. It beautifully said that you offer. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhi vidati manavaha. That's what he says. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. You do archana to the Lord by how? By your work. Swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhi vindati manavaha. That's what he said. You reach the highest level of your evolution not by running away from work and not doing our duties and then saying, let us do something else. I have now become spiritual, so therefore I don't have to do. All these are misnomers. Spiritual people are a lot more active. I have closely moved with Swamijis. We can't be 1/10 of their activity. They are very active. With the Loka Sangraha, they do things. And I don't think it's possible even for us. We are not able to meet somebody for half an hour. Swamiji sit from morning to evening, 365 days a year, and then talking to thousands of people. You'll get tired simply. After that, there is so much of Anushtana, so much of other things they do. If you closely watch what the sannyasins do, we are nowhere near. So sannyasa doesn't mean give up anything. It's all more work actually. That's why Krishna says, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Perform your duty. Every one of us have come here. This is a great yajna happening. This world is an yajna. All of us, let us give our ahuti. All of us have to give our ahuti. Find out what ahuti you have to give. Give. Remember me also while you are doing all this. You have to shout at your subordinates, shout. But then have godly thought in you. Because that is what is called, Vishesha Dharma. That job requires something, you do it. There's nothing wrong about it. But it stays there. That's all. It moves on. So the situation, whatever demands you have to do, but you should have that godly thought all the time. That's what he is saying. Which means you remember God, but be engaged in work in this Sangha. Be part of the society. Each one of us have to play a role in this society. So that's what is coming through that. Then the next line, he says, Mayarpita Mano Buddhihi. He could have just said Manas, or he could have simply said Buddhi. He has put both together. He simply would have said, you just offer you to me. He has specifically used Manas and Buddhi, because these two fellows are the ones who will actually take you out of godly thought. These are the two fellows who play in collusion, will do things. Manas and Buddhi. The Superman is Manas actually. The Buddhi is subordinate for him. Although it should be the other way, but that's how it is. The Manas has a tendency to completely take us completely away. Where it wants to go, it will take us. Sanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham nandye vayoriva sudushkaram. Asamshayam mahabaho mano dushnigraham chalam. He agreed. I agree with you. Asamshayam, there is no doubt. There is nothing to discuss here. No second opinion. Hey Mahabaho, mano dushnigraham chalam. Mano is chanchala. I am not, disagreeing with you. That's what Krishna said in chapter 6 when Arjuna asked that question. So Manas and Buddhi are the two powerful faculties of our Antakarana. One provides all objective calculations for the Manas to push you somewhere. See, the moment the Manas decides that you have to do something, the Buddhi will give 1,000 justifying reasons as to why it should be done. Right? Doctor will say, diabetic, don't take sweets. Then Manas will decide to take sweets. Buddhi will say, oh, those people are taking, nothing will happen. If you take once in a day, nothing will happen. Once in 3 days, you can take. Buddhi will give 1,000 supporting arguments for the Manas. The Manas will call the shot. So these two fellows, and the fellow who oversees all of them is the Ahankar anyway. So, Mayarpita Mano Buddhihi is again a very important choice of words here. So, there are very important choice of words in this shloka. Sarveshu Kaleshu, it is in plural. Anusmara Yudhyacha, which means we all must engage in work, also remember God. It is not one or the other. It is both. So we have to ride both the horses at the same time, which we are capable of actually. Mayarpita Mano Buddhihi, Mam eva eshyasi asamshayaha. You don't even have doubt, because this mind, the biggest role of mind, chapter 4, you will find it. Ashraddha jana ajnascha samshayatma vinashyati. That's what he says. This doubting Thomas will perish. This mind generates a lot of doubts with the help of the brain, with the help of the buddhi. The mind will very intelligently will come and say, no, 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 this is not what we should do. That's why the samshaya will all come only through this mana buddhi collaboration. So ashamshaya, don't have, leave it to me. Surrender unto me. Mayarpita mano buddhi is a sense of surrender, and you need extraordinary courage to surrender. Nobody can surrender. You know, in common parlance, it's a meek surrender. Meek surrender, not possible. Your ego will not allow you to surrender anything in life. I will tell you. And my favorite joke is you don't even give your pen with the cap. Keep the cap with you and give the pen. You can't even surrender a pen and a cap even if somebody takes it away. You have to keep the cap with you and give the pen so that the pen will come back. That's the level at which we are operating. Okay? Surrender is not at all easy. If somebody knew how to surrender, they have covered enormous ground in spiritual evolution. Not easy. Because Ahankar will never allow you to surrender. Ahankar will say, I know everything. So how does it say, I know everything? It will create, all these are say, it's all adrishta, we have not even seen. Don't go after it. How do I know? That's what the Charvakas are saying. They're saying, Basmi kritasya bhutasya, punaravartino kutah. After this body is burned, when is it going to come here? Where is it going to come again? Enjoy when you are here. That is what the Charvaka philosophy. So, these are the kind of things that will happen. The Ahankar, the only route it takes not to surrender is to create a lot of doubt. Oh, no, it won't work. And it will bring beautiful logic to satisfy ourselves that we don't have to do this way. That's why in our literature and in our scriptures also, they give a lot of emphasis for surrender. If you surrender, a lot of doubts will go. See, today, I'll tell you, modern science, modern living, enormous time is spent on sorting out this doubting business. 2004, there was a 10-day Aptaryama Soma Yajna. See, there are 7 types of Soma Yajnas. One of them is called Aptaryama Soma Yajna. It's one of the 7 Soma Yajnas. After 220 years, they did it in a place in 7 kilometers from Thrissur. It is called Mulangunnattukkavu. Railway station is also there. That station will come from Thrissur to Cochin if you go. 7th kilometer, I think. So they did a Aptaryama Soma Yajna. I was told to after 220 years. So I was invited to give a talk there. I was invited to participate also. I went there and spent 2 days. I was there. And what astonished me, I gave a talk, all that was there. What really astonished me was that there was a site in which they were doing the yajna. And the yajna veti, the altar, it's so beautiful to see. First 6 days, they add 1 brick at a time, and then that's how it builds. And it is a Sena Chiti, flying falcon. Sena Chiti. Every day we'll add 1 brick. And then 7th day onwards, non-stop 72 hours yajna. Non-stop. Very nice. I didn't sit non-stop, but I knew that it was non-stop. All that was happening. It was very nice to see. And what astonished me was, in that site, if this whole Yajna Kunda and all these Paurohits, a lot of people had come to see, participate, etc. If they were all sitting in about, let us say, about 4 grounds or 5 grounds of space, for 1 acre, there were instruments. And what are these instruments doing? These instruments are actually testing what is written in Chandogya Upanishad is right or wrong. If you do a yajna, whether rain will come, whether it is good for the smoke that is coming out of it. They are all written in Upanishad. They are putting instruments to check it. And they did all that. And a lot of people had also gone there and put all these instruments and so on. They came and made a presentation. Many of them, they said what was written in Upanishad, they observed. All that happened. And after the 10th day, there was a massive rain, heavy downpour, which was generally not there. So one of the things is this yajna. In Bhagavad Gita, it is there. Yajnat bhavati parjanyah, parjanyat anna sambhava, all those are there. Right? So today, instead of this asamshaya bhava, We are spending a lot of time to actually check what our ancestors have said. Anyway, whichever way we have to go, we have to go. We can't do anything. They are saying samshaya. But we have no samshaya about cardiologists, diabetologists, whatever they say. I don't mean anything. Don't take me other way. What I'm saying is we have faith with them. We have no faith with our rishis. We have no faith with our scriptures. We have no faith with Gita Charya. But we have faith with modern day consultants and doctors, etc., etc. And that's in a particular dasha we are going actually. So, anyway, Sri Krishna says, Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. So, how do we practically do it? Idea is good. From memory, you have to go to skill and instinct, and then it reach consciousness. Our acharyas have also told many things. So, I will take one shloka from Shivananda Lahiri, just to indicate how they have told it different way. And it is there in Mukundamala is also there. I did not get into those shlokas, but I will just take one shloka. A very nice shloka, which I thought tells us something about it. Look at this. Kanchit kalam uma mahesha bhavatak padara vindarchani kanchit dhyana samadhi bischanatibihi kanchit kata karnanaihi kanchit kanchid avekshanaish nutubi kanchit dasham idrishim yaprapnoti mudatvad arpita mana jivan samukta khalu. There's a very practical idea. It indicates. You have to understand, I'm not even saying you have to do exactly this by this, but you have to understand the tatparya that is coming through this shloka. What is this shloka saying? Bhagavad Pada, Shankaracharya gives some idea. He says, how do you develop this godly thought? They're all fine. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu is fine, but how do I go there? That's a question. I mean, you can say, I want to go to Mount Everest, I want to go to Mount Everest, but you have to know where is the base camp, first base camp. And you should know how to go to first base camp. From there, you should know how to go to the second base camp. From etc. etc. The 11th base camp is Everest. You can't be just standing here, I want to go to Everest and all that. It is all vyartha. Nothing will happen. We will only spend our time talking about, dreaming about Everest and all that. In the same way, Tasma Sarveshu Kaleshu is Everest. Let us talk about base camp 1 first. It will take us to base camp 2 and so on. Look at what is being told here. Kanchit Kalam. So for some time, Kanchit Kalam, Uma Maheshaha Bhavataha Padara Vinda Archane. Let me spend a little time doing some Archana for your Padara Vinda. I'll spend a little time. Shankaracharya is not even saying do 24 hours. He is only giving, he knows that we all have so many things to do in our life, but then he says, how do you also factor it into your daily life? That is where he is coming to. Because that alone will take us to the next level, right? So, Kanchit Kalam Uma Mahesha, Hey Uma Mahesha, that is the Sambodhana, Hey Uma Mahesha, Kanchit Kalam Bhavataha Padara Vindarchanaihi. Let me spend some time doing some Archana on Siva Ashtotra, Shiva, Maheshwara, Sambhavanam, Pinaginam, Sashi Chakranam, Vamadevanam, Virupakshanam, something, some Archana that we will do. We'll spend some time like that. Kanchit Dhyana Samadhi Bischa. Spend little time in some meditation, Om Namah Shivaya or Swarupa Chintanam, something, half an hour maybe, we'll spend a little time. Dhyana Samadhi Bischa. That dhyana over time may take us to samadhi. We don't even have to, that is the, the inner base camp of base camp 1. We don't have to worry about it. That all will happen. Okay. So, Kanchit Dhyana Samadhi Bischa. Natibihi. We will do some namaskaras. We will do some Sashtanga namaskaras. We remember the God at that time. Right? In our daily routine, our ancestors had put all these into our daily routine. We have no time for all that now because we have so many things to do. And so all these have been pushed to the background. Okay? Kanchit Kata Karnanaihi. That's why in villages, even today in villages, you will find some Katakala Kashyapa will keep on going. Because while hearing, when we keep hearing, something goes without our understanding, it influences our subconscious mind, it gets stored. Best thing is Shravanam. They say Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Shravanam is the best that we can do. Because relatively slightly lesser effort, but it's very powerful. It sort of takes the ideas into, into our, see, people ask, Why do you take all these small child, 3-year-old child, 4-year-old child to Kathakal? In villages, I find they take the young children also. The reason why they're asking, they say the child will not understand whatever, the Pravachaka is saying. That's not true. Everything goes. We think like that. And if the child is not reacting, we think it doesn't know. I mean, these are all our own assumptions sitting outside. These are all pumping. And the child grows, you actually find that coming up in a particular way. Nobody knows how it happened. So, katha kinchit katha karnanaihi. The Shravana is very, very important. That brings that Vatavarana of godly thinking in us. Hearing a little bit of very practical steps. Every day, morning, 1 hour, whatever you do, you put a pravachana, let a pravachana run. Unwittingly, over 6 months, you would have actually gathered a lot, and your thought process will, so effortlessly, it will happen. Just play it. Middle of the house, instead of switch off the mega serial and instead put this. So Shravana can be something else. Same Shravana only. I am only saying something else. That's also possible. Okay. So he says, Kanchit katha karnanaihi. Kanchit avekshanaischa. This darshana. No, we need to take the darshan of Baba. When we take darshan of Baba, there, we spend a little time, something happens to us. That's why we go to a temple. That's why we just go and stand in front of the deity. In our pujaram, that's why we are hanging all these patas. Why are we hanging all that? Because seeing it because ahara, you know what ahara means? Ahara is not this. Yet ahiriyate, that ahara. That which goes in, that we consume is called ahara. In common parlance, we consume something more through our mouth. So therefore, we call it as ahara. What you see is also ahara. What you hear is also ahara. What you smell is also ahara. That's why you put a batti. That sambrani smell changes your mood a little bit, right? Instead of cigarette smell. Just I'm giving an example. It will completely change. Just think about it, right? So all these are called ahara. That's it. Shankaracharya is saying, have ahara through your multiple sensory organs. Take it. That is what each one of them is saying. Use your karmendriya and jnana, and there are different type of slokas which say the same thing. I only picked up one sloka just to tell you that these are small little baby steps that we have to take to reach tasma sarveshu kaleshu mama anusmara. To reach there, we have to take a lot of baby steps. Okay? So, kanchit avekshanecha nutibihi, stotra parayana. The advantage of stotra parayana is 2-3 indriyas are fixed at the same time. See, Shravana is only this is fixed. Sometimes the eye can go. So it's, efficacy will come down. When you see, some sound may come. Whereas when you do a stotra parayana, 2-3 indriyas are now under work. That's what happens. So nutibihi, do some stotra parayana. Kanchid dasham idrishim. Reach a state like this in your life. Dasha is a certain state of life. Reach idrishim dasham. Develop this habit in you, a little bit, develop that habit in you. Yaha prapnoti, the muda, the joy that one gets. Initially, it will look meaningless. In fact, many things when it started, it will not mean. So we should never be aramba shuraha. Where people start 2-3 days, everything is over. Because first 2 months, it will be terribly meaningless. But that's where Shraddha comes. Out of Shraddha, we are saying, oh, Guru has said, somebody has said, Acharya has said, let us keep doing it. Let us not even ask what it means to me. The meaning will come later. The muda will come later. Yaha prapnoti muda, one who begins to see joy of doing all these, which will happen faithfully doing it for a long time. Yaha prapnoti muda, tvad arpita mana. Because what are you doing through this? You are reducing the distraction of the mind and then committing it to God. Out of 24 hours, maybe you would have taken 1 hour, 2 hours. In that 2 hours, that distraction is gone. With all these activities, we are focusing on God, our Ishta Devata. Right? Tod arpita manaha jivansa mukta kaluhu. That's why he will become a jivan mukta. He is saying, you will reach tasma sarveshu kali. That's what Bhagavad Pada is implying through this shloka. So in many shlokas, it is there. Everybody have emphasized this. They have emphasized that we should have this thought because that only takes us to that last thought, which will be nothing but a continuity of these thoughts. That last thought will be despite your indriyas working because it was wired into your DNA. You don't need memory, brain, switch off everything. Internally, I know. Externally, you may not know, doctor may not know, instruments may not know. But the Atman knows. That is the point there. So that is how Sri Krishna is offering us a hope and a path. So it is not an idea which is all some utopian ideas. It is an idea which we have to carefully tread as much as we tread in our journey of reaching Everest. Or a person says, I want to get the Olympic gold in swimming. That person goes through exactly like this. One step at a time, one step at a time. You understand what is to be done. Repeatedly does it. Lives through that experience. All the time thinks about it. Only then Olympic gold comes. Doesn't come just like that. So this process is the same. We are only saying here for our self-evolution, we need a similar process. And we need to keep doing that way. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya-gamina paramam purusham divyam yati partanu chintayan. So based on those three shlokas, Sri Krishna concludes. Don't worry, if you do, this is what will happen. He says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena. That's why he said, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. What did he say? Asamshe mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. Then he said, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagena jagrihyate. Abhyasa is very important for anything. Whether it is spiritual evolution, whether it is winning a game, whether it is succeeding in office, everywhere you need Abhyasa. Without Abhyasa, nothing. Without Ayasa, where is Payasa? Not possible, no? Without Ayasa, there is no Payasa. So, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, this Abhyasa Yoga, which I am telling you, if you do this Abhyasa Yoga, okay, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, with that Abhyasa Yoga, that constant union with the God through this Abhyasa, Kanchit Kala, Mamahesh, about Padara Vindarchanehi, all that we are saying, with that kind of a constant Abhyasa, that you believe in it and then do it one step at a time, slowly, na anyagamina. This manas will not go here and there. That is the biggest problem we have. The manas keep on going here and there. No, it doesn't really, stay somewhere. It keeps on going here and there. Na anyagamina manas chetasa. The chetas which has stopped wandering now. So that is what in chapter 7 he said, Ekasesha buddhihi. It's all laser focused on only one thing. And that getting laser focused on one thing is this method. So, na anyagamina chetasa, which you get by Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, using that Abhyasa Yoga, that strength of that practice that you do, your chetas, your chitta will not go here and there. Na anyagamina, what will happen? Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati. You reach that Parama Purusha. The Divya Parama Purusha, you'll reach to that ultimate destination. Right? Partha, hey Partha, this is Sambodhana. Partha, Anuchintayan, not thinking of any other things, because the mind is not distracted anymore. You gave some regimen to the mind, small little practices which the mind caught hold of it. And it found some joy in doing it. And so it got habituated to a way of doing things. By doing all that, what has happened is you will reach Mount Everest. Don't worry. You just start. Go on this road. See, the biggest problem with this, why did he say Mayarpita Mano Buddhi? First, the mind will ask, the Buddhi will ask, oh, how is it possible? Please explain in detail. These are all dreamers. There's no point in dreaming. You have to jump. Don't keep on reading about swimming pool, what is called swimming, and just jump into the water. With a little safety, of course. But it is important you jump into the swimming pool. What swimming are you talking? Sitting on the banks of the pool and then reading some 10,000 pages of swimming, but not even testing water. So therefore, up to a point, after that, we have to have faith. We have to have Shraddha. We should not have this doubting mind. We should be able to jump into it. And that also will come with the grace of the Lord. So some of these prayers will also take us there. So it's all supplements. Vitamin supplements will also come through it. So all that Sham Divyam Yati. Hey Partha, Anuchintayan. You will think of me. Anuchintayan also can be, constantly thought follows me. Therefore, you will reach me. So this is how what appeared to be a scary proposition, what appeared to be something which appears impossible, in a practical sense, it may appear impossible, but it is reachable. Provided we take a path and no hurry. I'll tell you, in spiritual evolution, we don't have to ask, how many more days I have I improved so much. All that are villains for spiritual journey. You have to just forget all that. You have to just go. The rest God will take care. That is a hallmark of a person who wants to evolve. They don't, waste time doing performance metrics and check how much effective I have been and all that. These are all antidote. That will not take you in spiritual journey. It will take you away. Have Shraddha. Do what is to be told. Maybe we may not do it very well. Take time to find out how to do it as closely as what is being told. Rest will all follow. Let us not even bother when I will get mukshutva. Why are I wasting time to find out when I will get mukshutva? I will waste all my time only thinking about it instead of thinking about God. That is what will happen finally. So we don't have to do any of those. They appear difficult, but Gita Acharya has told us. So we need to take faith and go. So he put something which is maybe difficult, but not impossible, but on which we should have Shraddha and we have to keep going. Now, if we do all that, how will that experience be? That also he says. So the few shlokas that follows, in which he says, what will happen? How will that last moment look like? Having done all these, what will that also look like? A few shlokas are also there. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaredhyah Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. In Bhagavad Gita, when something very, very special and exciting things are told, the meter will change. From Anushtup, it will go to Trishtup. This is Trishtup Chandas. 44 aksharas, 11, 11, 11, 11. Anushtup is 8, 8, 8, 8. Here you just see Ka, Vim, Pu, Ra, Nam, A, Nu, Sha, Si, Ta, Ram. Exactly 11. One pada is 11. Kavim Puranam, Anusha Sitaram is 11 aksharas. Okay? Then A, No, Ra, Ni, Yam, Sa, Ma, Nu, Sma, Re, Dyaha. There, 11. That will be again 11. Exactly 11, 11, 11 it will be. Chapter 11 will all be 11 because Vishwarupa Darshana. Right? So when something very emotional, something very special, something which is out of the ordinary, the meter will change. So here, this experience of what that is being described. That's why the meter has changed now. It has become a long meter now. So whenever you see long meters in Bhagavad Gita, you'll find there is something very emotional or special thing being told. That's why in chapter 2, Guru that is again in Trishtup, because Arjuna is very emotional. There are 2-3 shlokas which are very emotional. Shadimam Tvam Prapanna. Up to that, it is a very emotional pitch. So the meter has changed. You'll find in chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, when it talks about the Atman, shloka 16 to 30, you will find 1 or 2 which are longer meters. They are all very profound ideas. That's how it has been done. So anyway, here it says, it describes that Brahman. That vision of the Brahman that will come, no? That is being described. Kavim, Puranam, Anushasitaram, Anoraniyan. In fact, in Veda, it says Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan. In Prashnopanishad, it is there. I mean, in Kathopanishad, it is there. In Mahanarayana Upanishad, it is there. In several Upanishads, you will find it. That Brahman is the smallest of the smallest and biggest of the biggest. Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan. That's what it says. So that is exactly the Veda mantra which has come here. Anoraniyan Samanusmaredhyah. Samyak Anusmaredhyah. There are three adjectives put there. Smarana itself, as I told you, Smarana is not simple memory. It is that deep conscious feeling. Smaredhya, having that feeling, that is Smaredhya. Okay. Anusmaredhya, varam having that feeling. Samanusmaredhya, sam means well, na? Samyak. So there are two upasargas there, sam and anu. The message there is Smaredhya, having consciously being aware of. That's what Krishna wants to say. He has put two upasargas there. Anu is one, sam is another. Samanusmaredhya. Remembering means consciously being aware. It is awareness rather than remembrance. Correct word is awareness. Constantly being aware of that Brahman. And that Brahman is what? Kavim, Puranam, Anushasitaram, Anoraniyan. Sarvasya Dataram, Achintya Rupam, Aditya Varnam, Tamasapparastat. These are all descriptions of the Brahman. That visualization that Atman gets. That visualization of the Brahman is what that Atman gets at the final moments. And what is the visualization? It is a visualization of the Brahman. And what is that? Kavim. Okay? Omniscient. Kavim is known of everything. Puranam. Puranam means Puracha Navacha. He is eternally there, he is always fresh. Purana, one meaning of Purana is old. But there is another meaning of Purana. Puracha Navacha is Purana. Nava is new, Pura is old. So he is relevant, available all the time. Fresh, old and fresh, and fresh, ever old. That's the Puranam. Okay? Puranam. Anushasitaram. He is the one who is the controller of the whole world. Bhishasma dvatah pavate, Bhishote iti surya, Mrityurdhavati panchamaiti. In Taittiriya it says, the sun and moon, even Yama, they are all following on some cosmic order. They are all afraid of something. That something is this Brahman. That's why sun every day, rises in the east and sets in the west, not in south and north. It doesn't happen like that. The entire cosmic order is a rhythm. And that rhythm is because of Anushasitaram. Mrityurdhavati panchamayiti. Even Yama goes by that kind of a cardinal principle, which is called rhythm. In English, rhythm they say, rhythm we say in Sanskritam. In English, we say rhythm. Okay? That is that Anushasitaram. Anushasana. He does the Anushasana. He is the controller of everything. He is the one who is actually the ruler of everything. Right? Anushasitaram, Anoraniyan. He is the subtlest of the subtle. He is the ultimate demat you can think of. You don't have to materialize God. It's demat. Let's say Anoraniyan. Okay? Samanusmaredhya, having thought about him. Sarvasya Dataram. He is the supporter of everything. He is the supporter of everything. He decided there should be rain today and then some water should come to this city. We can't do anything. We can bring and then burn tons and tons of silver oxide. Nothing will happen. The clouds is brought by him. Then you bring your silver oxide. Let us see what happens. So he is the one who is the supporter of everything. Sarvasya Dataram. Sarvasya, not Sarvanam. It is supporter of not everyone. It is supporter of everything. Sarvanam, if you say everybody. Sarvasya means everything. Everything means, Jata, Chit, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, rocks and rivers, you name anything. Sarvasya Dataram. Achintya Rupam. He cannot be captured by your Indriyas. He is Indriyatita. He cannot be captured by Indriyas. What you can capture in Indriyas is only Swarupas. He is Arupa. He is Nirguna. You can start with Saguna. Saguna is a good way to start. Ultimately, he is Nirguna. That's why Achintya Rupam. Aditya Varnam. He is the embodiment of light. Aditya Varnam means light means knowledge. Knowledge means everything. Tamasapparastat. In his presence, there is no darkness. Darkness is removed. Tamasaha parastat. It is not here. When we know the Brahman, all ignorance is destroyed. All ignorance is gone. All darkness is gone. Darkness is tamas, no? So everything, he is the embodiment of the antidote of tamas. That's why tamasa parastat. Okay. So in this shloka, it says how this person who tasma sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmaredhyacha, when he goes through that, what kind of a vision he is likely to get. Some indication. That is what is being described here. That's why it is in a longer meter. Because, these are all shlokas for dhyana. This is a dhyana of Brahman. The attributes of Brahman is being... So if we keep on, reciting this shloka and then remember it, that thought will come. Little bit of that thought will come. Kavim Purana Manasa Asitaram Manoranyan Samanusmaredhya Sarvasya Dataram Achintya Rupam Adityavarnam Tamasa Parasta. There is one more shloka. There are two shlokas in which the whole thing is described. I just stopped halfway only. So we'll go to the second shloka, which continues this thought. That's also long meter. Prayana Kale Manasa Chalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva Bruvor Madhye Pranamaveshya Samyak Sataparam Purusham Upaiti Divyam. So in this says the path in which this Atman goes. Because Tasma Sarveshu Kaleshu, I remembered and all that happened. So what will happen to that Atman at the 11th hour? What will happen? In the 9th sloka, it described a vision of the Brahman, right? And now he says, Prayana Kale, when the final journey has come for the Atman, for the body it will happen after some time. For the Atman, Prayana Kale, Manasa Achalena, with an unwavering mind, because Mayarpita Mano Buddhi, we have surrendered our mind and Buddhi, so this mind is not going to play its tantrums on me anymore. So Manasa Achalena, with an unshaken mind, Bhaktya, full of bhakti, okay, Yuktaha, he is now completely connected. Yug is a dhatu in Sanskrit, means to connect. From that, yoga came. Yoga is connecting to the ultimate. Yoga is a process by which you connect to the ultimate. And I often say that the engineering word yoke also came from that. Yoke is a coupling. To connect two things, we use what is called yoke. Railway, two compartments are connected with what is called this technical, mechanical engineering word is called yoke, Y-O-K-E. That also came from yug, connect. It's connecting. Yuktaha. Krishna uses yukta, ayukta, nasti buddhi ayuktasya, nacha yuktasya bhavana, nacha bhavayata shanti, ashantasya kutasukam. In chapter 2, he talks about yukta several places. Yukta and ayukta both he talks about. So here he uses the word yukta. Yukta is one who is composed, one who is not out of sync with God, in sync with God. In sync, we say, no? That is yukta. The body, mind, and everything is aligned to God. He is a yukta. Aligned to God, meaning that ultimate larger principle, which is sarvasya dhataram, achintya rupam, anushasitaram, anoraniyam. That all that description, this person is connected to that. Consciously connected. That is yukta. And how did he connect? Yoga balena. The practice of that yoga, right? It is bhakti yoga, it is this nirantara, this all that we talked about. Because of the strength of that yoga. Yoga balena chaiva. Now this individual is fully composed. This individual mind is not distracted. This individual has the strength of the yoga exercise and abhyasa yoga yuktena. That's what your earlier shloka said. With all that, this individual is fully composed, and prayana kale, this individual gets a certain vision. That vision of that Paramatman, which is in the Kavim Purana Manusha Sitaram Anoranyan Samarusmaredhya. Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parast, all that. Bruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya, holding the prana between the two eyebrows, Bruvoho Madhye. There are some tantric things are also there. In the chakras, this chakra is a Visesha chakra. And then you get Sahasrara Kamala. So if you take a tantric, you can understand that. I'm not getting into all those discussions now. You have Swadhisthana, Manipuraka, Anad, this is Vishuddhi, Anada and then Vishuddhi. Agnya, this is Agnya chakra. This is Agnya and all that. So, Bruvor Madhye. That is why in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, when he gave the meditation, he said the same thing, no? He said, never said Bruvor Madhye. He said, Nashikagram Swam. One's own tip of the nose, not somebody else's tip of the nose. Nashikagram Swam. Nashikagram Swam means from here, you will automatically come here. Easy. You do here, from there, it will easily move there. That's why he points there. Nasikagram Swam is what he says in chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita. That is the proxy for Bruvor Madhye. That is the exercise for Bruvor Madhye eventually. So Bruvor Madhye, Samyak Pranam Aveshya, holding this prana properly in between the two eyebrows, which is the Agnya Chakra, right? Saha Tam Param Purusham Upaiti Divyam. He goes on to him. So that is what Gita says. As I said in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a Indriyoni and different ways of this being told, but they are all saying the same thing in any case. Have godliness. The thought of godliness is the fundamental building block of our evolution and for Videha Mukti. These are all for Videha Mukti. How do I drop my body and that's it? Instead of this Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janam, how do I escape from that? How do you get Videha Mukti? We have to be very deeply in our conscious mind. The godliness must penetrate. That's a long journey. We'll do it. Let us not worry about it. We'll do it. You get to know what it is and then start. Any day is a good day to start. And let us not worry when it happens. Let it happen after 100 Jamas. Why am I bothered? Let us know I am at least on the right road. Let me go on the road. This is the mind of a true seeker. The mind of a true seeker is not like a management person who says, what is the effort you put, what is the returns you got, what is the return on investment, how effective you are. All those are all villains for self-evolution. In self-evolution, it is just get onto the road. Rest are all God's play. Whatever the God wants me to do. So the only prayer is put me on the right road. The rest are all you know what to do. Put me on the right road. Not a very complicated prayer, simple prayer. Put me on the right road. The rest are all 100 Jamas, you decide, 1000 Jamas, you decide. Why am I worried? That Manobhava, if it comes, we have covered a lot of ground. We have covered really a lot of ground. That is what really will happen. So these descriptions of Brahman that you see here, Kavim Purana, Manusha, Sitara, Manoraniyan, this is your Shruti, your Vedanta will have full of this discussion. They are all directly borrowed from Vedanta. That's why if you read Gita, it's as good as reading Brahma Sutra, it's as good as reading Vedanta. Everything is taken so beautifully from there. And Gita Acharya has given us so nicely to us. Nevertheless, I will take some quotes from a few Upanishads to show how this description of Brahman is actually there. So as I told you, in Kathopanishad it is there. It is there in Mahanarayana Upanishad in a slightly twisted way. Kathopanishad is Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan Atma Se Jantor Nihito Guhayam. That's what Kathopanishad says. This is all conversation between Nachiketas and Yama. When Nachiketas said, keep all that with yourself. I don't want all that. Tell me this Brahman. I want to know this Brahma Tattva. All that you keep. He promised him so many things. This boy asked only one thing. All of them will perish one day. Why are you giving it to me? Give me something non-perishable. These are all perishables. It will go one day. That one day can be a light year, can be 1000 Janma also, but it has to go one day. So I am not interested in anything that goes away one day. That's what he says. So in response, all this happens. Anoraniyan Mahato Mahiyan. This is Brahman, this notion of Brahman is bigger than the biggest, smaller than the smallest. Atmasya Atma Asya Jantoho Nihitam Guhayam. That Brahman is available here. You don't have to go and search elsewhere. It is available within you. That's what it says. It is available within you. You don't have to go waste your time searching it outside. It is within you. Nihito Asya Guhayam. That's what it is. The Chetak Kuhare Panchamukosti Mekuto Bihi. Shivananda Lahiri says, Acharya says, you are sitting, you are that Panchamuka, Satyojada, Agora, Tatpurusha, Ishana, and all that. These 5 faces of, right, Panchamuka. There in that Shivananda Lahiri shloka, he actually relates it with lion also. Lion is also known as Panchamuka because it has a wide head. So one adjective for lion is Panchamuka because it has a wide head. So it's as good as having Panchamukas actually. So he says, Chetak Kuhere Panchamukosti Mekutobihi. So that is what he says. Same thing you find in Mahanarayana in another way also. Ataparam Nanyadani Ataparam Nanyadani Yasagum Hipara Param Yat Mahato Mahantam. That's what it says. He says, Na Anyad Aniyan. There is nothing other than this which is smallest. Aniyan. No. Parat Param. Yat Mahato Mahantam. Same idea is coming in a different way here. Yat Ekam Avyaktam Anantarupam Vishwam Puranam. See the adjectives for Brahman. There are so many adjectives. Ekam. Ekameva Dvitiyam. It is one. It is not multiple. It is one. May manifest in multiple ways, but it is one. You may have 1,000 ornaments, but they are all gold. Like that. You may have a world of wooden objects. They are all wood. It is the Karana, not the Karya. The Karya are the manifestations. He is the Mula Karana. That's why Ekam. Avyaktam. It is not something which you can split it into pieces and all that. It is Avyaktam, not Vyakta. Oh? Anantam. Arupam. Right? Vishwam, this is, Vishwa is so huge. Puranam, Puracha, Navacha. So all those, Gita has taken only all these descriptions and put in that shloka. All these are coming there, no? Right? Narayana Suktam also it is there. Antar Bahichada Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Stitaha Anantam Avyayam Kavigum Samudrentam Vishwasambhuvam Padmaghosha Pradihasham Hridayanchap Adhomukam. Antar Bahishatat Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Stitaha. Narayana is inside, Narayana is outside, Narayana is occupied everything. Sarvam Vyapya Stitaha. Anantam, Avyayam, Kabim, again same kind of descriptions. You see, Anantam, endless, Avyayam, Avyaktam, you can't do anything about it. Kavim, okay, Samudrentam, Vishwasambhuvam, right? Padmakosha Hridaya, see this is the Hridaya, here it is described like a Padmakosha. It's like a lotus. And it is like an inverted lotus, Adhomukam. So the description of the Hridaya is like an inverted lotus, and he says Narayana is there. So it's a figurative explanation here. Padmakosha Pratihasham Hridayanchap Adhomukam. The Hridaya is like this, like an inverted lotus, and Narayana is there. That's how it says. So all these descriptions only you find in that shloka that you have in Gita in that particular thing. So far, up to the 10th shloka, what Sri Krishna has done is after answering Adibhutam, Adidevam, Adhyatma, Karma, then he took on this question of Prayana Kale. That was the last question he asked. So far we have gone through all the descriptions of what it means, what should we do, if we do it, what kind of experience we'll have, all that. So this is one block of discussion that has happened. Now the rest of the discussion in the chapter is all about the Akshara Brahman. which that, and how do we go there? What are the path in which we are going? So all those he is going to take. So on that, this is the crossover shloka to the next set of thoughts. So I thought I will just go through the shloka and then Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yatayo Vitaraga Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatme Padam Samkshe. I am going to tell you something profound. That's why it is a longer meter. That's why it is in a bigger meter. I will tell you something profound about that. Yad Aksharam, Yat Veda Vido Vadanti, right? Yat Aksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. They tell the Akshara Om. That Aksharam, which is Om, which is Veda Vido Vadanti. Vedantins always represent you as Om. Okay? Veda Vido Vadanti. Vishanti Yat Yatayo Vitaragaha. Those who are all Vitaragas. Vitaraga is they have given up all their passion. And they are yatis. Yat Yateha. They constantly strive for you. They enter in you finally. Vishanti. Right? Vishanti Yat Yateha. Yateha. These yatis, with giving up all their discussion and all their small little desires and so on, when they constantly strive, they enter into you. I am going to talk about that. For Vedantin, it is Om. For them, it is Pranava. That is how they do the Upasana and then they get their realization. That's why he says, Yad Aksharam. That Aksharam actually means Om. Yad Aksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yat Yatayo Vitaraga Yat Vishanti Yatayaha. And these Yatayas are Vitaragaha. They have given up all their desires. And they are steadfast on saying, I want to enter into this God feeling. That's what it is. Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti. Right? By desiring to obtain that, people get into Brahmacharya. This is not necessarily mean ashrama. Because ashrama also indicates Gita. Brahme Chatum Ichami. I want to walk through the feeling of Brahma. They are Brahmacharis. Brahme Charitam Ichanti iti Brahmacharyaha. So Brahmacharyam Charanti. Yadichanti Brahmacharyam Charanti. They want to walk through the path of Brahman by their practices, their, all their controlled ways of doing things. That is the idea of that ashrama, actually. Right? Brahmacharya doesn't really mean ashrama. It's a tatparya. Yet ichanto, by wanting to reach that Brahman, Brahme charanti te brahmacharyaha abhut. They all became brahmacharya because they want to tread through the path of Brahman. Brahmacharyam charanti tattevam sangrahena pravakshe. Concisely, I will tell you about that pada. We'll leave it at suspense and see tomorrow what is that pada. I think we will stop here at 7:59. I think we should stop here. Although it is raining, we have to stop at 8 o'clock. So I think with this, there is a crossover that happens to the next set of thoughts. And this was the first part is this is top of the day. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasyate Om Shanti Shanti Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om